We're going to be talking about the tall ship, the Oliver Hazard Perry.
Ah, yes.
The state's official sail training vessel, if I have that
actually
title
the state's
correctly.
flagship now.
Okay, flagship. All right. So, welcoming to the studio, there's someone who I wanted you to meet, and a wonderful addition to the Newport community, so Jonathan Kabak,
Kabak, yeah.
Kabak, okay, is the chief executive officer of the Oliver Hazard Perry. Their offices are up on
Bridge Street.
Right. So you didn't have far to come.
No, not at all.
You could have walked here today.
There you go.
So what I wanted to do for our listeners today is they haven't heard about the ship since some of its less fortunate front page news a while back. And I think there may be some people out there saying, what's going on, what's happening, what's her future look like? And I thought this would be a good opportunity to help educate people about a lot of the really good things that you are doing, because there is a very bright future there. So welcome to the show. Appreciate you joining us here, Jacob and myself.
Mm-hmm.
But let's start with that the ship has a new winter home. So why don't you start and share that with folks?
Sure. So before I jump into where she is for the winter, just a quick thanks for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be with you to do one of my favorite things, which is to talk about the Oliver Hazard Perry and what she holds both in her future and for the people of Rhode Island. So I'm delighted to share with your audience that the giant 200-foot square rig ship, Rhode Island's flagship, is berthed at Bowen's Wharf for the winter. And she had traditionally called into Bowen's Wharf to participate in the Bowen's Wharf Seafood Festival. And through the generous support of the Bowen's Wharf Merchant Association and one of our founding supporters, Bart Dunbar, we've made arrangements to be there for the winter. And that opens up a whole milieu of great opportunities for community programming and training, very much in concert of what we're trying to do with the ship. So the plan is for the ship to be at Bowen's Wharf, open to the public and a variety of tours and programs through the winter months and all the way up and through the early spring, when we'll return to our home port for the summer at Fort Adams.
So I want to dive a little bit deeper and drill down a little bit more on the programming and things, because a lot of people, first of all, what a wonderful addition she is along the Newport waterfront. Mm-hmm. How beautiful. You're like driving along and you're like, wow, look at that. It's just spectacularly beautiful. It's really wonderful. But there are different ways for the general public to utilize the ship, right? And one of the things I hope to accomplish through our interview today is let people understand how they can engage the ship. What can they have events on it? Can they rent it? Can they have corporate outings on it? How can the general public get involved with it itself, and student field trips and things like that?
Sure. So I'm delighted to say that the answer is yes, 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 and yes.
All right.
We are open for business. One of the things we take very seriously in our role as the state's flagship is that we want to make it a ship for the people of Rhode Island. Being a native New Yorker, I've started to liken it to, I want Rhode Islanders to feel about the ship the way New Yorkers feel about the Statue of Liberty, that it is ours and an important part of who we are, our own identity. This is the ocean state, and as such, we should have a deep, meaningful, passionate connection with the ocean. And I think that's a great metaphor for how we envision the ship and its interface with the Rhode Island community. So I'll see if I can remember the laundry list you just gave me, Evan, but to start off, in these winter months, while we are not underway in sailing, the ship still is available both for private receptions and public programming. Private receptions, we have some charming spaces on board, the great cabin, which is reminiscent of the afterguards cabin on a warship of the 19th century, a beautiful wood-paneled room with the windows overlooking the rest of the wharf. Makes for a lovely environment to have a reception or a meeting, cocktail party, etc. And if you're interested in using the space for that or the whole ship at large for a larger event, you can certainly reach out to us either via our website, which is www.ohpri.org. You're welcome to call our office, 401-841-0080, or email info@ohpri.org. In addition to the opportunities for private events on board, we're looking to launch a series of public community events this season and participate in some of the other activities at Bowen's Wharf. So the ship will be participating in the lighted boat parade, although it'll be at dockside. But we'll have the ship lit up for that on November 29th, the day after Thanksgiving. The ship will be open to the public as part of the Bowen's Wharf Christmas tree lighting December 7th. And if you either follow us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, or visit our website, you can find information about the other public programs that we're doing, whether it be those for children, craft activities. I know as the parent of two small kids here on Aquidneck Island, I'm always looking for exciting things to do with them in the wintertime, and we hope to be responsive to that need. If you are a teacher or a parent of a school group, we're starting to reach out to our partners in the world of education to try to bring students in, and in particular use the ship to expand people's awareness and understanding of the opportunities that exist in the marine trades, in the maritime industry, and even in the defense sector here in Rhode Island. Ultimately those areas combined with hospitality represent over a quarter of our state's GDP. And there are tremendous opportunities for personal growth, sustainability, which will in turn allow sort of our community to address some challenges in our world. But, we don't have to get into the heavy stuff yet. It's just a great opportunity to connect with the ocean environment through a multitude of different types of programs and events on board.
Well, one of the reasons I find this so exciting is that one of the real strengths, I think, about our community, now I'm wearing my tourism hat for a moment, but we have so many wonderful, unique venues here that really make us stand apart from other places in America. And I'm referring to the fabulous architectural assets we have in terms of the mansions, the Tennis Hall of Fame, Fort Adams, and I could keep going down a very long list of fabulous architectural assets. But people who want to convene here and have, interesting off-site meetings, corporations I'm referring to, or associations, team building exercises, weddings, should I dare say weddings, 1,200 weddings here. This is one of the reasons so many people love this destination and have an affinity for the destination, is because we're not just a theme park, with all due respect to theme parks. We are a very authentic, real place. And where I'm going with this thought is, having the Perry spending more time here, and she will certainly sail the seven seas of the ocean, but I'm being very selfish by having her here and adding her as part of our venue list. I think it's incredibly appealing that people could be convening in a hotel ballroom during the day and be enjoying a cocktail party on the decks of that, or having a board meeting below, or doing some type of team building exercise. And so I think that's a fabulous thing. And then there is the whole public side of it, which is, I'm very glad you brought up the teachers and whatnot, because I think it's certainly would make an incredible field trip for students, whether they're studying, the sciences or history or whatever. Certainly young people would remember that for sure if they were grade school students and were able to take a field trip to the Perry, memorable.
Absolutely. One of the analogies I often share with those that I'm chatting about the ship with is, if you think about the most compelling experiences that you've had, the most formative, and mementos or tokens of those adventures, because, all learning is really an adventure. I always use the analogy of, if you can envision a boardroom, the chairman of the board, or someone's, country cottage, someone who we all think of as had a wealth of experiences, and sitting square on the mantelpiece right above that roaring fire is always a model of a sailing ship. And that's a wonderful metaphor for the experiences and opportunities that sailing ships provide. So we like to think of the Perry as an opportunity incubator to access these wonderful formative experiences, be it in science and mathematics, engineering, the arts, the humanities, character building, leadership. These are all different avenues of exploration that our programs afford our participants, be it a corporation that's coming in with a group that wants to focus on leadership dynamic and team building, or a group of students that are learning about the design and construction of a ship, and how in turn they have to create something that is not just pleasing to the eye, but substantive and strong, that can go out to sea and face the challenges that Mother Nature provides. So a ship is just an incredible learning platform for anybody that chooses to engage it, whether it be for a few minutes or a few hours, a few days, a few weeks. It doesn't matter. It is something that stays with you for the rest of your life.
I really just try to give some thought to people saying, boy, I'm glad I listened to the show today. I learned something, right? And that's a big reason I invited Jonathan to join us today as CEO of the Oliver Hazard Perry, because I think a lot of people on the island, when I say that, might remember just the last front page coverage of her, which was unfortunate. But any seaman who's ever been at sea understands that there are challenges at sea. And I've had my share of those things before. And stuff happens when you're on the sea. And it was an unfortunate situation. But the ship is, I think, charting, and I use that word deliberately, charting a very bold and bright course for the future. And it is a remarkable asset. I want to personally give kudos to not only the visionaries who made this whole project come to life, okay, but the dozens, if not hundreds, maybe even thousands of people who supported it and really made that vision available to inspire a lot of people. So there she is. She has a great mission. She has an affiliation with the state of Rhode Island. And so she's going to winter this winter down at Bowen's Wharf.
Correct.
And so people, I wanted people to not just ask, like, what's that ship doing there, right? I wanted them to get an understanding of what's, and then deeper than that, like, well, how can I get involved with it? Could I have my kid's birthday party on there, right? Have a Peter Pan party or something like that. Could my school have a group there? Could my group of friends, or could my corporation or my association have a meeting there? On the stern of the ship, I sent you a picture. Maybe you want to post that on your website.
I can.
There's a beautiful meeting room there. I don't know, how many people would that meeting room hold, you think?
So we usually tell people if you're doing something like a formal sit-down dinner, it's for 12. If you're standing around and doing past hors d'oeuvres for cocktails, it's about 30.
Okay.
And then beyond that, we start to think about those ship.
So this is an indoor space, but it's a very, it's very movie-esque, right? When you think of tall ships, you think of the captain's quarters in the back, right?
Sure. Admiral in command.
Yeah, exactly. So this ship is extraordinary. This room on the Oliver Hazard Perry is extraordinary, and it's so I want people to think maybe I could rent that. I could have my function on board there. I could have my next whatever group you belong to, whether it's personal or professional, that you would think I've got a great new venue. I'm practicing what I preach, in that once a quarter I meet with the other regional tourism districts here in Rhode Island, and our term is coming up later this month. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to have the meeting on the tall ship, and I'm going to bring everybody on the tall ship.
Yeah.
So I'd rather invest the money there to show them something new and so how to engage that. But maybe somebody wants to have an engagement party on board. What a memorable thing, right?
Yeah.
Some people do all this work about getting creative and asking someone to marry them. Somebody might want to have a reveal party. Yes. So there's so many different ways to use or get creative and innovative with this. And so the ship will be there for the winter, but I'm going to change gears with Jonathan now and say the idea is to go back to Fort Adams in the summer, and the ship is available for all kinds of dockside activities, but you are planning that people could charter her for the day, right? That people could actually go sail on her.
Absolutely. So, at our core, what we love to do is be underway. We're a bunch of sailors, and sailors like to be off the dock, not sitting on it. So roughly, beginning of May through the end of October, the ship is in full commission, fully operational, certified to sail around the world. And while distant horizons are wonderful, we like to stay a little bit closer to home and give more people the opportunity to get on board. So the ship is available for programming, anything from a short day sail for a few hours all the way up to a few days or even a couple weeks. We tend to operate regionally from New York to Maine, roughly a couple days to get back to Rhode Island. We do like to stay close to home, again, because we want to share the opportunity with as many people as possible. But an underway voyage can focus around marine science or engineering principles. Again, we do fantastic corporate team building programs, really delving into the relationship between different groups and teams working together, working apart, in a way that I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a similar experience out there. Not to mention you're doing it on the beautiful waters of Narragansett Bay, under a beautiful afternoon sea breeze. And when we come back to the dock, there's nothing better than unwinding and chatting with your friends with a refreshing beverage in hand at a reception. So we're really limited only by our imaginations. While the ship looks old, she is a thoroughly modern ship. She was commissioned in 2015.
Yeah, I was going to ask.
So
what kind of tech is on there?
Sure. So people often wonder, well, what are the heads like? Well, we have flushing water and hot and cold running water, and the space, the great cabin that Evan was referring to has multimedia capacity, so you can connect your laptop to our presentation screens for presentations or films, etc. Climate control, heating and cooling, all the modern comfort, shall we say. It's just that anachronistic sailing rig that allows you to pretend you're Russell Crowe 1 minute and then enjoy a cold cocktail the next.
There you go.
It's a steel hull, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
It's a steel hull.
So it's not you don't have to worry about leaks in the planks, so to speak.
No, not at all.
No. So I want to go back to people like reaching out to you. So I want to repeat those types of things, because if you've been listening to us and you want to try to engage this, you want to have that company meeting out there, that gathering of your maybe you're I'm reaching for this, but maybe you're part of a bridge club and you want to go up play bridge someplace really special. I got to tell you, the captain's room or the cabin is like the most special place you will ever go. So I guarantee you, no matter what activity you do, you could find a use for it on the Perry. So it is not just sitting there looking pretty. It is there for Rhode Islanders to engage with, to utilize it.
Absolutely. We in the coming weeks, we have, including your colleagues, we have a group from the Naval War College who's hosting a seminar on board, and then we're hosting the Aquidneck Island Clergy Association on board. So we really are looking to make it accessible to all members of the community of Rhode Island and share the ship with the people of Rhode Island. So if you are part of a group, small, large, if you're just looking for a place for some quiet contemplation, it's a wonderful spot that I think is unique among all the exceptionally wonderful venues that we have both here in Newport and more broadly in Rhode Island. It's a hidden charm that honestly we're trying to make not quite so hidden anymore.
Exactly. So somebody's listening. They want more information. Let's review that again. Who do they call? What website do they go to?
Sure. So if you'd like to talk with someone on the phone, I'm still a fan of talking to somebody. The number to call is 401-841-0080. That puts you in touch with our office staff down at OHP World Headquarters on Bridge Street, and they'll be more than happy to answer your questions. You can visit our website, www.ohpri.org. That's .org. We are a not-for-profit organization, so if you type in ohpri.com, you may not get there. You can follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, and certainly send us an email at info@ohpri.org, and we'll get right back to you.
Is there anything, before we close this segment up, Jonathan, was there anything you would hope to communicate that I didn't ask you today that you wanted the public to know?
No, I think you've been more than gracious at allowing us to share our story. We are in business to serve the communities of Rhode Island, and that's with empowering access and opportunity. So be it our educational programming that's we're getting ready to launch in the coming weeks, the Perry Corps program, which seeks to offer interesting and unique opportunities to Rhode Islanders, be it high school students, young adults, our veteran population, or just the average individual. There's always an opportunity to engage with the ship. We have an active volunteer program, so if you've always wanted to learn how to sail a square rig ship and climb aloft in the rigging, here's your chance. But all that same contact information applies, so get in touch with us, and we'd love to welcome you on board and have you be part of our story and sharing our story with your friends and colleagues.
Well, on behalf of Discover Newport and WADK, we thank you for taking time to chat with us today. Okay, Jonathan Kabak, CEO of the Oliver Hazard Perry.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yep. Of course, thanks for coming in.